Now here's a question for you. We're standing here in Melbourne and you want to go for a seaside lunch. Do you head southeast towards Sorrento or southwest towards Geelong, Mornington Peninsula or Bellarine Peninsula? Today I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter, as whichever way you go down, you can come back the other one. It's a nice trip for visitors or residents alike. So come with me as we go around the bay in a day. The City of Melbourne sits at the northern end of Port Phillip Bay, a 2,000 square kilometre body of water that shelters Melbourne from the open and chilly waters of Bass Strait. There's plenty of east side and west side rivalry among Melburnians, with both the Mornington Peninsula to the east and Bellarine Peninsula of the west offering plenty of reasons to visit. So today, we're going to handle both. Well, we're taking the easy path first and heading southwest towards Geelong. It's a 75-kilometre freeway drive that, once you get past all the roadworks in the city, is actually a pretty easy run. We'll stop by the water for a coffee and then head across the Bellarine Peninsula for about another 30 kilometres to Queenscliff. And to get us there, we're in the new Haval Jolion SUV. Priced from $28,490 drive away. The Jolion is a compact, urban-centric SUV that, while small in size, is big on interior space. There's a heap of room in the back seat, and the boot offers 430 litres, which expands to 1,133 litres with all seats folded. Our car is the top specification Jolion Ultra and is priced from $33,990 drive away. It scores 18-inch alloy wheels, a panoramic sunroof, head-up display, and a 360-degree camera. Power comes from a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine with 110 kilowatts and 220 newton meters available. The Jolion is front-wheel drive and has a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Adaptive cruise control is included across the range, as is a lane keeping assistant plus a host of other driver assistance technology. It's actually a pretty impressive inclusion for a car at this price point. The cabin in the Jolion is really quite slick and modern. You've got a big central screen here, a fully digital instrument cluster there, plus this on the A-pillar, which is actually a driver attention monitoring unit. So it looks at my face and it can tell if my eyes are a bit sleepy or I'm staring off vaguely into the distance, and will give me a warning because it really needs me to be concentrating on the road. It's actually pretty cool. The way the adaptive cruise works is actually pretty cool too. You've got feedback both in the instrument cluster and in the head-up display that shows green lines indicating that we've got the safe distance between us and the car in front. Now we can adjust our distance, but if someone cuts in front of us, it all goes red or orange and the car gradually moves back. But even if I change what the instrument display is showing, I still get it in the head-up display. Again, pretty cool. Well, this is the Geelong Waterfront, a lovely slice of traditional seaside life with a Ferris wheel, boardwalk, even a diving tower. Worth mentioning too, we're using Apple CarPlay on the Jolion's central screen here, and it displays full screen, which is, I've got to say, a really, really nice implementation. There's plenty to do down this way. You can head around the top of the peninsula to Port Arlington, or spend some time oceanside and head on over to Barwon Heads. Now we're heading to Queenscliff, which was once the site of an old fort, used to protect the entry to Port Phillip Bay through the narrow and treacherous heads. The gap between the peninsulas is around 3.5 kilometres, but with shallow rocks and reefs on both sides, the space between for shipping traffic is only about 1 kilometre wide, which, when you're in a big cargo ship, isn't much margin for error. Right, well, that over there is Point Nepean, the tip of the Mornington Peninsula. Now it doesn't look far, but there's no bridge, and our Jolion doesn't float. So we're going to need to enlist some help. The Searoad Ferry sails a 16-kilometre passage between Queenscliff on the western side and Sorrento on the east. A pair of boats run every hour during the day and can carry up to 80 cars and 700 passengers each crossing. What is perhaps a bit crazy though is that the car ferry service was only established in 1983, which meant up until that point, if you needed to drive between the two tips of Port Phillip Bay, you had a 250-kilometre journey ahead of you. Well, once on board, the trip takes about 40 minutes. There's a cafe downstairs if you want to sit back and relax, or you can come out here on deck and suck some salty air into your lungs and look for dolphins. Plus, you'll pass the other ferry about halfway through your trip. The ferry costs $72 per car for a one-way trip, with one adult and up to 3 children included in the fare. You can cross with a caravan or trailer and simply pay according to your length. Or if you're feeling energetic, a push bike is free to carry with any passenger fare. Well, from Sorrento, the sky's the limit. The Mornington Peninsula is home to wineries, food stores, golf courses, even a drive-in theatre. But we're not going to take your time up with those. Instead, we're going to head back around the coast all the way back up to the city to complete our lap of the bay. Well, there you have it. We're back in Melbourne after our complete lap of Port Phillip Bay. It really is a great trip and a wonderful way to see some of Melbourne's most scenic areas, plus that ferry ride is pretty hard to beat. Our entire trip today was around 220 kilometres, which includes the ferry crossing. As for costs, our little Jolion here ran about 8.5 litres per 100. That's about $35 worth of fuel. Plus the ferry tickets and countless coffees makes it a not too bad day out. As always, don't forget to like this clip and hit subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest videos. Click the bell icon too to receive a notification every time a new video is published.